Are you an entrepreneur or are you a business person? Are you an entrepreneur or are you a business person? This is something you need to know. There's really two types of business people that are out there starting things. And it's important that you know what you are before you go out and start doing things. There's a wise saying or a quote that I use that says, you can only rise to the level of your greatest weakness. You can only rise to the level of your greatest weakness. So I think what we're trying to say here is that you need to know your strength and you know your weaknesses. And if you know what your weakness is, you know that you can only lead or lead others or lead yourself or rise to the level of your greatest weakness. You could be the best chef in the planet, but if you're horrible at marketing, you're horrible at mowing the yard, and you don't know how to put the right kind of sign up, no one's gonna come in and taste that good cuisine that you cook, like my man Philly. So it takes those things. Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a businessman? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a businesswoman? Do you know your strengths? Do you know your weaknesses? You can only rise to the level of your greatest weakness. So let's break that down. What is an entrepreneur? What is a business person? I'm going to define those two things with thoughts and examples briefly over this little video cast. An entrepreneur is somebody that's more of a visionary, somebody that's more inclined to come up with an idea, someone that's more inclined to care more about the fact that their idea works than if it really makes money right away. The money's gonna come for an entrepreneur once he gets his process and his product working. He's the person that's the perfectly competitive or creates the perfectly monopolistic or comes right down the middle with that perfectly monolithic model. The visionary. We'll figure out how to make money with it later, but let's make it work. We're insane about it. The business person is the one that says, well, now that it's working, how do we make it prolific? How do we make it monetizable? How do we make money off of it? Another way to look at this is a franchisor or an entrepreneur. A franchisor is more of a business entrepreneur that creates the franchise, the idea of the product, this first burger franchise, this first taco franchise, whatever this franchise is going to be, they pick that lane. The business person is the franchisee in most cases, where they don't want to create the model, they want to make the model more effective, and they want to take tried and true and proven principles and variables and all the statistics and make them work, make money, make it efficient, be a business running type. An entrepreneur is the one who says, hey, I got this idea. So are you an idea person or are you an operational expediter business person? Another way to look at this is 0 to 1. 0 to 1 is a term for Peter Thiel used, who created PayPal. Great visionary, invented PayPal. He is a monopolistic lane type person. He is an entrepreneur. He is a 0 to 1 person. He takes nothing and makes something, and then he hands it off to a 1 to 100 person. A 0 to 1 person is an entrepreneur. A 1 to 100 person is a business person. Let's take another example. Let's look at Tim Cook with Apple. Tim Cook is a business person. Steve Jobs was a visionary. He was an entrepreneur. Man, he went over to the business side and he got fired. He just didn't have the appetite for it. He wanted to go out and create more. He realized that he was an entrepreneur, a visionary, and he realized he needed a Tim Cook to figure out how to make all these dang phones. And he was the businessman. So what are you? Are you an entrepreneur or are you a business person? It's key that you understand your weaknesses, because in either one of these business models, you need to understand what's your weakest point of being an entrepreneur. Probably operations. What's your weakest point of being a business person, 1 to 100? Probably vision, probably invention, probably ideas. It's okay. It takes both. Very few people can do both, and probably those people that do both shouldn't do both. So what are you? An entrepreneur or a business person? What are you? Are you 0 to 1 or 1 to 100? That's your challenge. Figure that out before you start your next venture. And then create a plan. You can't execute a plan if you don't have one. This is Todd Saylor, Wire Differently. WireDifferently.com. Check me out. Thanks so much. See you till next time.